You have been lied to today. Not a big lie, probably not even a conscious one. But somewhere between waking up and this moment, someone looked you in the eye and said something that was not true. And you believed it. Not because you are naive, because they were better at hiding it than you were at seeing it. Most people think detecting lies is about catching inconsistencies in stories, about noticing when details do not match, about asking the right questions and waiting for someone to trip over their own words. That is the amateur approach, and it almost never works. The real tells happen before a single word is spoken. They happen in the pause before the answer, in the shift that occurs when someone realizes they are about to be tested, in the micro-adjustments that the body makes when the mind decides to deceive. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must be a fox to recognize traps, not a lion. The lion sees only what is in front of him. The fox sees what is being hidden. The fox reads the terrain before stepping onto it. This video is about becoming the fox. There are 7 signs that reveal deception before a word is spoken. 7 patterns that liars cannot fully control, no matter how skilled they are. 7 things you can learn to see that most people will spend their entire lives missing. By the end of this, you will not need to catch someone in a contradiction. You will know they are lying while they are still deciding how to phrase it. The 7th sign is the one that gives them away before the conversation even starts. 7. And this one happens before you even ask a question. You are about to have a conversation, maybe a negotiation, maybe a confrontation, maybe just a discussion where something significant is at stake. And before you have said anything of substance, the other person starts framing, explaining the context you did not ask for, providing background information that feels slightly too thorough, setting up the narrative before you have asked for a narrative. This is not helpfulness, this is preparation. When someone knows they are going to deceive you, they need to control the frame before you can establish your own. They need to plant assumptions, shape the lens through which you will interpret everything that follows. An honest person responds to the conversation as it unfolds. A dishonest person tries to build the conversation before it begins. Watch for the unsolicited context, the explanation that arrives before the question, the detail that seems designed to preempt something you might have asked. William Stephenson was the chief of British intelligence operations in the Western Hemisphere during World War II. His code name was Intrepid. He ran thousands of agents coordinated with the OSS and built one of the most effective spy networks in history. But his real genius was not in running operations. It was in reading people. Stephenson developed a principle he taught to every agent he trained. The liar speaks first. He said it plainly. When you sit down with someone and they immediately begin explaining, defending, or providing context, before you have asked for anything, they are building a frame. And people only build frames when they need protection. His agents were trained to say almost nothing at the start of any encounter, to let silence do the work, to watch who rushed to fill that silence and how they filled it. Those who waited were usually telling the truth. They had nothing to prepare for. Those who started framing immediately were hiding something. They knew what questions were coming, and they were already trying to shape the answers. The Stephenson Read. Let them speak first. The one who rushes to frame the conversation is the one who needs the frame. Here is the practice. In your next important conversation, resist the urge to open with your own context. Say less than you planned to. Watch who fills the space. Watch how they fill it. The honest person will wait for your actual question. The dishonest person will start building before you ask. That is the 7th sign. They overprepare the frame. The framing reveals intention. But the 6th sign reveals something they cannot fake, no matter how hard they try. 6. This one is harder to see, because it requires you to pay attention to rhythm. There is a natural timing to honest conversation. A question lands, the mind processes, the answer forms, the mouth speaks. This sequence takes time. Not a long time, but a measurable one. Liars disrupt this timing, and they disrupt it in two opposite directions. Some answer too quickly. The response comes before the processing should have completed, before they could have genuinely considered what you asked. This happens because they already know what they are going to say. They have rehearsed it. The answer was prepared before your question, so it arrives faster than it should. Others answer too slowly. The pause stretches longer than the question requires. This happens because they are constructing, not remembering. Constructing requires more cognitive load than retrieving, and that load creates delay. Both patterns are tells. Both reveal that something other than natural recall is happening. J.P. Morgan was the most powerful banker in American history. At his peak, he controlled more money than the United States Treasury. Presidents asked for his help during financial crises. He personally bailed out the American economy in 1907. But Morgan's real skill was not finance. It was reading people across a table. Morgan was famous for his silence during negotiations. He would ask a question and then wait. Not impatiently, not aggressively, just wait. And he would watch the timing of the response. He once said that you can tell everything about a man's position by how long it takes him to answer a simple question. The man who answers instantly has rehearsed. The man who takes too long is inventing. During one legendary negotiation with railroad executives, Morgan asked a straightforward question about projected revenues. One executive answered immediately with a precise figure. Morgan paused, looked at him for a long moment, and said nothing. The executive began to fidget. Within minutes, he was revising his answer. Morgan had not accused him of anything. He had simply noticed that the timing was wrong. The Morgan silence. Ask the question, then measure the pause. The honest answer arrives in natural time. Everything else is performance. Here is the application. The next time you need to assess someone's honesty, ask a simple factual question first. Note how long they take to answer. That becomes your baseline. Then ask the question that actually matters. If the timing changes significantly, you are no longer getting recall. You are getting construction. That is the sixth sign. Their timing is wrong. If you have ever felt that something was off about a conversation but could not explain why, you were probably detecting a timing mismatch. Your instincts were reading what this section just made conscious. 5. This one is more uncomfortable because it requires you to think like a liar. Every lie has a center, a core piece of information that the liar needs to protect. Everything else in the conversation, every detail and deflection exists to keep you away from that center. The tell is this: liars guard the wrong things. They become strangely defensive about details that do not matter. They over-explain peripheral points while sliding past the actual question. They treat minor topics as if they were cross-examination and major topics as if they were casual conversation. This happens because their mental map is different from yours. They know where the lie is buried, they know which questions lead toward it and which lead away. So they put their energy into blocking paths that you may not have even intended to walk down. An honest person has no map like this. They have nothing to protect. So their defensiveness, when it appears, matches the actual stakes of the question. Themistocles was the Athenian general who orchestrated the Greek victory at Salamis, one of the greatest naval battles in ancient history. The Persian fleet outnumbered him 3-1. Every logical calculation said Athens would fall. But Themistocles won because he understood how to read what the enemy was protecting. Before the battle, he noticed something strange about Persian movements. They were guarding their flanks with unusual intensity, repositioning ships to cover approaches that did not seem strategically important, expending energy on protection that did not match the obvious threat. Themistocles realized what this meant. The Persians were afraid of something specific, something at those flanks, and fear reveals priority. He probed those positions, found the weakness they were trying to hide, and destroyed the Persian fleet by attacking exactly where their protection revealed their vulnerability. The Themistocles Trap. Watch what they guard. It reveals what they fear losing, and what they fear losing reveals where the truth actually is. Here is the practice. When you suspect someone is lying, do not look at what they are saying. Look at what they are protecting. Ask yourself why this particular detail is getting so much energy. If the protection does not match the stakes, the lie is close. That is the fifth sign. They guard the wrong things. This channel exists for men who want to understand how influence actually works, not the sanitized version. The real mechanics, if that is, you subscribe. What they protect shows what they fear. But the fourth sign reveals something about their relationship to you specifically. 4. This is the one most men file under politeness. It is not politeness. You are in a conversation and something feels slightly off. Not hostile, not suspicious, just managed. The other person seems unusually aware of how they are landing, unusually calibrated to what you want to hear, unusually concerned with being perceived a certain way. This is not charisma. This is construction. Honest people are relatively unconcerned with your perception of them during normal conversation. They say what they think. They let their actual personality show. They do not monitor your reactions in real time and adjust their presentation accordingly. Liars do the opposite, because the lie creates a gap between who they are and who they need you to see. And maintaining that gap requires constant monitoring, constant adjustment, constant performance. Watch for someone who seems too aware of how they are being received, too quick to modify when they sense your reaction shifting, too smooth in a way that feels engineered rather than natural. Cesare Borgia was the son of Pope Alexander VI and one of the most ruthless operators in Renaissance Italy. Machiavelli studied him directly, used him as a model for much of The Prince, called him a master of the art of appearing to be what he was not. But Borgia had a method for detecting liars among his own ranks. He called it simply the test. When he suspected someone of deception, he would not confront them. He would create a situation where they had to choose between what was true and what they thought he wanted to hear. He would express a strong opinion on something he did not actually care about, then watch who agreed with him too quickly, too smoothly, too eagerly. Those who had their own opinions and stated them were usually honest. They were not managing his perception. They were simply being themselves. Those who immediately aligned with whatever position he expressed were performing. And people who perform in small things, Borgia reasoned, will perform in large things. He eliminated several traitors this way, not through interrogation, through watching who was trying too hard to be what he wanted. The Borgia Test. Introduce a false preference. See who agrees too easily. The one who manages your perception in small things is already prepared to deceive you in large ones. Here is the application. The next time you are unsure about someone, express an unusual opinion, something unexpected, something they could not have prepared for. Watch the response. The honest person will react authentically. The dishonest person will calculate first, then respond. That is the fourth sign. They manage your perception too carefully. Perception management reveals calculation, but the third sign reveals something about what happens when you push back. 3. Before this one lands, think about the last time someone reacted strangely to a simple follow-up question. You asked something. They answered. You asked a follow-up. Just a normal clarification. Nothing aggressive, nothing accusatory. Just more. And something shifted. The energy changed. The tone tightened. The response came with an edge that did not match the question. This is the pressure tell. Honest people can handle follow-up questions indefinitely. Because they are not protecting anything, each additional question is just another opportunity to tell the truth. The cognitive load stays the same. Liars cannot. Each follow-up question is another chance to contradict themselves, another path that might lead toward the center they are protecting, another opportunity to reveal the gap between what they said and what actually happened. So they leak. Irritation, defensiveness, a sudden desire to end this line of questioning, an emotional reaction that does not match the stakes of what you asked. Houdini was the greatest escape artist in history, but what most people do not know is that he spent the last decade of his life exposing frauds, fake psychics, fake mediums, people who claimed supernatural powers but were simply skilled at deception. Houdini developed a systematic method for testing them, and the core of his method was simple. Keep asking. He would let them perform, let them succeed, let them feel confident. Then he would ask them to do it again and again, with small variations, under slightly different conditions. The real practitioners, if any existed, would not mind. They had nothing to hide. The frauds would begin to deteriorate. Their certainty would crack. Their explanations would become more elaborate. Their patience would fray. Eventually, they would refuse to continue, or they would make a mistake that exposed the entire operation. Houdini called this the filter. Apply enough pressure gently but persistently, and the false will separate from the true. The Houdini filter. Keep asking, keep probing. Watch who welcomes the questions and who begins to fracture. Here is the practice. When you suspect deception, do not confront. Just keep asking. Politely, curiously. Watch how long they can maintain consistency. Watch when the irritation appears. The honest person will stay patient. The liar will eventually push back against questions that should not require pushing back against. That is the third sign. They cannot hold under pressure. For most men learn to read these patterns by losing something important first. If this is landing differently than content you have seen before, subscribe. I drop a breakdown like this every week. Pressure reveals fragility, but the second sign reveals something about how the lie was constructed in the first place. 2. This one is more subtle, because it requires you to listen for what is missing rather than what is present. When someone tells the truth, they tell it messily. Details arrive out of order. Irrelevant tangents appear and disappear. The story has gaps and redundancies and moments that do not quite matter. When someone lies, they tell it cleanly. Every detail serves the narrative. Every piece of information advances the story they want you to believe. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is irrelevant. This happens because lies are constructed, planned, edited. The liar has already decided what you need to hear and what you do not. They have removed the noise before they started speaking. Truth has no such editing process. It includes the noise because the noise was actually there. Watch for the story that is too clean, too linear, too purposeful, where every detail seems to matter and nothing seems incidental. Charles Darwin spent decades developing his theory of evolution. But what most people do not know is that he also spent years studying deception. Not in animals, in scientists. Darwin noticed something peculiar about the scientific papers he reviewed. The honest ones were messy, full of qualifications, admissions of uncertainty, data points that did not quite fit the conclusion. The dishonest ones were clean. Every observation supported the theory. Every experiment confirmed the hypothesis. No loose ends. He noticed that when naturalists described what they had actually seen, their accounts were messy, full of digressions, uncertain on peripheral details, confident only on the things they had directly witnessed. When naturalists described what they wanted to be true, their accounts were clean. Every detail supported the conclusion. No contradictions, no uncertainty, no digressions that complicated the picture. Darwin used this insight in his own work. He deliberately included the messy parts, the observations that did not quite fit. the questions he could not yet answer, because he knew that perfection was the signature of construction, not discovery. The Darwin Wait. Distrust the story that is too clean. Reality includes details that do not matter. Lies only include details that do. Here is the application. The next time someone tells you something important, listen for the gaps. Listen for the irrelevant tangents. Listen for the moments of uncertainty. If those are absent, you are not hearing a memory. You are hearing a script. That is the second sign. Their details are wrong. Details reveal construction. But the first sign, the deepest one, reveals something about their entire orientation toward you. Last one, and this is the one that exposes everything else. Because every other sign can be masked by a skilled enough liar. They can slow their timing. They can add messy details. They can prepare for pressure. They can even learn to stop guarding the wrong things. But this one they cannot hide, because it is not about technique, it is about orientation. The honest person welcomes verification. Check my story. Talk to the other people involved. Look at the records. They have nothing to fear from additional scrutiny because their account will survive it. The liar avoids verification. Not aggressively, not obviously, just discourages it. Subtly suggests that checking would be unnecessary or difficult or somehow offensive. Watch for the person who makes verification feel like a lack of trust, who frames your desire to confirm as a character flaw rather than a reasonable precaution, who provides just enough information that you could verify but creates social pressure against actually doing so. Cardinal Richelieu built the most sophisticated intelligence network of his era. He served as chief minister to Louis XIII and effectively ruled France for nearly 2 decades. He had spies in every court in Europe. He knew secrets that kings did not know about their own kingdoms. But Richelieu's real insight was not about gathering information. It was about how people behaved when they knew verification was possible. He said that a man who tells the truth asks you to check. A man who lies asks you to trust. Richelieu would test his agents this way. He would give them information and tell them to verify it through their own sources. The agents who did so thoroughly were kept close. The agents who took the information at face value were quietly moved to less sensitive positions, because the willingness to verify revealed something about how a person processed reality. Those who checked were oriented toward truth. Those who accepted were oriented toward convenience. And those who actively discouraged verification were hiding something. The Richelieu Web. Watch how they respond to the possibility of verification. The honest person opens doors. The liar closes them. Here is the practice. When someone tells you something significant, express an intention to verify. Not aggressively, just casually. I might check with the other people involved. I will probably look at the records. Watch the response. The truth teller will say nothing, or encourage you, or offer to help. The liar will object, subtly. Will make you feel that verification is unnecessary. Will create friction where there should be none. That is the first sign, and the deepest. They do not want you to verify. A man sits across from someone he has known for years. The conversation is ordinary. The words are familiar. But today he is watching differently. Not the content of what is being said, the patterns underneath, the timing, the details, the energy around certain questions. He says nothing about what he sees, he just files it. And when the conversation ends, he knows something he did not know when it started. He is not angry. He is not surprised. He is simply no longer deceived. 7 signs. None of them require you to catch someone in a contradiction. None of them require you to be aggressive or confrontational. All of them require you to watch what most people are not watching. The frame that arrives before the question. The timing that does not match the stakes. The protection that reveals the fear. The management of perception. The fragility under pressure. The details that are too clean, the resistance to verification. Machiavelli wrote that the fox recognizes traps, but he also wrote that most men do not develop this ability, not because they cannot, because they do not want to see what is actually in front of them. You now see it. The patterns are everywhere once you know how to look. In business, in negotiation, in relationships, in every interaction where something is at stake. The question is not whether people around you are lying. Some of them are. The question is whether you can see it clearly enough to respond accordingly. If something in this video shifted how you read the people around you, the subscribe button exists. I release a breakdown like this every week. Each one goes deeper. The next video covers the 8 manipulation tactics used against you every day. Not in theory, in the specific moments you experience them. That video is on screen now.